Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Wednesday. I hope the week is going well wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. We are slowly edging our way through the first international break of the season. It is a little bit boring already, I have to admit. I'm already sitting here dreaming of that North London derby at the end of this all, which, oh God, what a horrible game, though, to come back into after the first international break of the season. But we are slowly getting there. The internationals are about to start. I think the first Arsenal involvement is tomorrow. Thomas Partey will talk about that a little bit later on in terms of who is playing and when over the next week or so. So that's going to improve things a little bit once the football does start again, and we can at least take our mind off things by watching some of the international football. But we're going to talk about Raheem Sterling today. He's been training for the first time at his new club following his move from Chelsea, obviously on deadline day. He's also been speaking about why he made the move, why he's so excited. He's got a bit of a message for the Arsenal fans as well. So we'll talk about that. Big night for the Arsenal women tonight in the Champions League against Rangers. Of course, we'll have a little discussion about that. Got lots of reaction from you guys on what I was talking about yesterday in terms of my thoughts on the transfer window as a whole, and a lot more to discuss after that. But we'll start with Raheem Sterling. As you can see there, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see some of the pictures from him in his first training session. Look at the size of that football they're playing with. I mean, that's proper school ground sort of size 2, size 3 type ball they're playing with there in that picture. But he was with his teammates yesterday. Obviously, most of them are away with their international groups, but there are still some senior players around. Jorginho's there, Gabriel Martinelli, Ben White as well. So some senior players, but lots of the youth players making up the numbers. It looks sharp. Arsenal put a video out. If you're not sure if you've seen it yet, it's on their socials if you want to go and have a look. And Sterling looks pretty sharp, I have to say. I mean, he's not been not playing for that long. Obviously, he got frozen out at the start of the season. Up to that, he'd been part of pre-season, been playing then. It wasn't until that, it was City on the first day, wasn't it, when he suddenly left out, and then they released that statement. So it's not like he's not been playing for 2 months or anything like that. So I expect if he uses this international break well, if the coaching staff use it well, then he should be right up to speed for the Spurs game. And I'm definitely expecting him to feature in that. I'm not sure whether he'll start or not, but I'm definitely expecting him to feature. He's been talking, Raheem, about the move. He's talking about Mikel Arteta, and you can see there the picture of the two of them. And you'd hope that partnership that worked so well when they were together at Manchester City, hope that's going to work well here at Arsenal. We're going to see the best of Raheem Sterling like we did when he was at City, working so closely one-on-one at times with Mikel Arteta. And we know that Sterling has praised Arteta before in terms of getting the best out of him. And fingers crossed that can happen at Arsenal. He's wearing the number 30 shirt. So there you go. Obviously, there's been a big discussion point. What number is Raheem Sterling going to have? There was questions. Would he take the 10, the 14? I always thought you can't really be giving out those numbers to a lone player, especially a lone player from Chelsea. And not, he's taking the sensible option, which is number 30. But he's been speaking about the move to Arsenal and why he's done it. And he said, look, I'm buzzing. It's one where we left it late, but it's the one that I was hoping for. Looking at everything, I'm just like, this is the perfect fit for me. And I'm super happy that we got it over the line. It's the perfect fit for myself to be at a football club like this, where you can see that the hunger, the desire is there year on year. They are pushing and pushing and pushing. That's exactly how I am as a person. Each year you want to get better and do better than the previous year. Hopefully I can get really well with the boys and get going. It's time now to meet them, get settled in, and hopefully now see some game time and to make my mark. He was talking about what, sort of first impressions of Arsenal and things like that. And he said, you can see the real togetherness, the journey that the boys are on, and the hunger. The togetherness is something that I'm looking to be a part of. I'm really excited. There are always challenges, and this is another challenge. It's one that I'm relishing, and I'll really go out there and do my thing. So a bit of a sort of statement there to the Arsenal fans, a message, I'm going to go out there and do my thing. I might be here on loan, but I'm taking this very, very seriously. And he should, because look, he's got no future at Chelsea. That's very, very obvious. So although he's a loan player, he knows he's got no future back at his parent club. Unless something remarkable happens. And so he's playing for his future here, whether that be to try and secure a permanent move to Arsenal at the end of it, or just to put himself in the shop window so he can find himself a decent permanent move elsewhere at the end of the season. He needs this to be a success, Raheem Sterling. He can't afford for this move not to pan out very well and him to struggle and not make his mark. And then he's going to find himself in a really difficult position in a year's time. So he is hungry. He's got big ambitions. That's very, very obvious. This was the move, as he said, that he wanted over everything else. He wanted to come to Arsenal. He's got that move. He's linked up with Mikel Arteta again. And now it's about him making his mark, and fingers crossed he can do that. I just wanted to read something here. I can't find it, which is really annoying. I wanted to see what he had to say about Mikel Arteta. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is what he said about Mikel Arteta. He's a top guy, a top character. I've been watching his journey because I spent some time with him at Man City, and to see him come in here and stamp his mark on the football club with this amazing history, it says a lot about him and the great job he's doing. And again, I just think that relationship between the two of them, the past history that they've got, the whole Manchester City connection could work out to be a really, really positive thing for Arsenal. And when Raheem says himself there, it's a really good fit. Look, this wasn't the signing that I was sort of expecting or hoping for at the start of the transfer window. Make no mistake about it. But the more you think about it, the more you think this could work out to be a really good deal for Arsenal. As I said yesterday, it's a no-lose deal really for them. They're barely paying him any money. Chelsea are still covering the majority of his wages. They're paying no loan fee. They've got no obligation included in it at all. So if it doesn't work out, that's it. You know, it's just been a very, financially not a cost-heavy exercise for them. But if it does work out, then they're going to have it's going to be a real bonus for them in the hands. And when you look at how he plays and how Arsenal play, there's a lot there to suggest that it could work out, and it could work out very, very well. So fingers crossed for that. But yeah, it's good to see him in his first training session yesterday. He wasn't the only player in his first training session. Neto as well joined in, of course, having moved from Bournemouth on deadline day as well. Coming in very much to be the number 2 for David Raya. It's a move that could have happened a while ago. There's always been the links with Arsenal and Neto. Him and Edu have got a very strong relationship. The pair of them, they go back a long way. And yeah, it's always a move that when he was at Barcelona, I remember there was a possible suggestion it actually was more than the possible suggestion that there was a chance that he was going to make that move to Arsenal. It didn't happen, but he has made the move here now. And again, he's been speaking about the move, and he said, this is a dream for him to play at Arsenal. When he was in Brazil, it was always Arsenal that he was looking for. And it's a big moment for him. Hopefully he's not going to have to play too much football, because if he does, that means that something's happened to David Raya, and we don't want that. But brings experience. Again, it's not costing Arsenal much money, so it's a decent option for me. And then you can sort of sit down and reassess what you're going to do in the summer. Is Juan Garcia going to be more readily available in the summer to make that move? You would think potentially so, but this will give Arsenal a little bit of leeway and a little bit of protection as well. Didn't get that third choice goalkeeper in though, so they are a tad light in that goalkeeping department with Carl Hein out on loan. So it's going to be Tommy Setford, you would think, is going to be the regular third choice for Arsenal. Okay, big day for the Arsenal women today, of course, in the Champions League, looking to put right what went wrong last season at this stage of the competition in the qualifying rounds, playing Rangers at Meadow Park, 7:30 p.m. kick-off for them. And yeah, it's just a huge night for them, given especially what happened last season and the immense disappointment of failing to get through this stage last season. It was something that really did hit the club at all levels. They wanted it. They were, hoping for some really special nights at the Emirates in terms of the Champions League. That was all, put out like that by that defeat that they suffered at this stage last season. Leah and Jonas were talking about it yesterday in the build-up to the game. Leah was talking about what last season was like, and she said, I think last year was a hurtful situation. We were left to regret that for the rest of the year. So everyone knows what it feels like to lose, and nobody wants to feel that again. But one of the strengths of this team is the intensity that we play at. I think the pressure arrives. I think when pressure arrives, a lot of that pressure can be taken out by the way that you play. And I've seen that on the training pitch, dealing with that transition from playing friendlies into competitive football. And the most competitive you can play is in knockout football. It's been fun to watch us as a team deal with that over the last week or a couple of weeks, but I think we're ready. Everyone knows what it means there. And you would hope that what happened last season is going to drive them on. I mean, they shouldn't need any more motivation than what's already there. What's on offer to them with victory tonight, which I think they go through to play the winners of Atletico or Rosenborg if they win tonight. And they just can't afford to let what happened last season. It's got to be taken really, really seriously. It will be. You can hear that by when you're listening to Leah and Jonas speak yesterday. So big night for them. Fingers crossed it does get done. 7:30 p.m. Meadow Park later on today. You can watch the game as well. I think it's being streamed on the Arsenal's channel, so you can watch the women hopefully secure their spot through to that game against Rosenborg or Atletico. Okay, international football wise, this is what we've got coming up at the start of the international break. There's lots of games to come on Saturday, of course, but the next couple of days we've got Thomas Partey. You can see there in a picture on YouTube. He's over with Ghana at the moment for their qualifier AFCON against Angola. You've got David Raya in action for Spain against Serbia. You've got Jakub Kivior in action in the Nations League for Poland against Scotland. Then on Friday, Martin Odegaard with Norway against Kazakhstan. And then you've got the William Saliba, Ricardo Calafiori derby in Paris, France versus Italy in the Nations League. That should be a good game. Loads of people in action on Saturday as well, but I'll talk about that a little bit later on. You just got to sit here right now, as annoying as this international break is, and my God, it is really, really annoying. It always is at this stage of the season. Just start to get yourself into a little bit of a rhythm in terms of domestic football, and then bang, an international round of fixtures comes up and hits us straight away. But you just got to sit there, fingers crossed, that everyone comes back unscathed, especially given what Arsenal got coming up in that first week back after the international break, with Spurs on the Sunday, then Atalanta on the Thursday, and then Man City on the Sunday. You know, just a brutal return to domestic action after the international break for Arsenal. 3 huge games, and you just don't want anyone injured while they're away with their international team. So I imagine Mikel Arteta and the rest of the coaching staff are sitting back at London Colney right now and just praying to whoever it is they pray to, hoping that everyone comes back unscathed. Right, moving on to some of your reaction now. There was lots of reaction to what I was talking about in the transfer window yesterday. I sort of gave my thoughts on it as a whole, sort of summed it up in terms of selling wise, players who've moved on, what the squad looks like now, who's come in. And I ended up saying I'd probably give it about a 7 out of 10. It would have been about 5 had that late deal for Sterling not happened. But with Sterling, it sort of pushed it up to a 7 because I think incomings wise, I still feel Arsenal short. I said that yesterday. I think they could have done a little bit more. I feel like they should have done a little bit more. I think selling wise, they had a very good window. They had a decent window, which is something that they needed to have. So sort of taking that all into context, I gave it about a 7 out of 10. ECG at the top there clearly doesn't agree with me. 7 out of 10, trash. He says this window is a 5. If we had 20 to 30 plus goals season striker last year, we would have won the league. So we needed to get that one piece. I don't see us winning the league again for the lack of a striker. Look at the difference Haaland made. I always see that, talking about Haaland. He's like, Haaland, it doesn't grow on a tree, that type of striker. He's a one-off. He's a freak. He's a once-in-a-generation type forward. That's why he's so much better than everyone else in terms of what he does in front of goal. Arsenal just can't go out and pick up a Haaland because there aren't any others. Haaland's a one-off. There are some other good strikers out there. I'd have loved Arsenal to have signed Alexander Isak. Just wasn't possible. Newcastle weren't selling. And it would have cost too much if Arsenal were going to really, really try and get that deal done. So, they tried to sign a striker. They wanted Benjamin Sesko. They didn't get that done. And then they weren't going to go out and sign anyone just for the sake of it because they didn't fancy anyone, unfortunately. So I get what you mean, and I agree. I still think they're an attacker short. I don't necessarily think that's a striker, but I definitely think they're an attacker short in terms of what the squad should be. But I don't sit here right now and have a go at them for not going out and signing a Haaland because unfortunately there's only one Haaland and he plays for Manchester City. Derek said, we had a great window financially and it puts us in a good position for the future. The only problem is that our window to win might be now. I think we are still one attacking stroke midfield forward away from the big trophies. I tend to agree with you, Derek. That's what I said yesterday. Ian says, guessing you're downgrading it because of the Marino injury. Any team buying Calafiori and Marino, I would normally be very happy about getting Sterling services for a season on favourable terms too. Definitely a good window. So you've got Derek and Ian sort of disagreeing a little bit in terms of the overall window to ECG. East Upper Guna says window is still a 5 out of 10 max for me. Needed a striker and better cover for Odegaard. Partey and Jorginho will hopefully be off in January next summer. And then 888KLAC says everybody has a backup now except for Odegaard. That is worrying. If he has a serious injury that keeps him out for any length of time, they probably should have kept Vieira in reserve. Again, I kind of agree with that. I was surprised with the Vieira one. I thought he was probably going to stick around. I think for him, it's a great move. And I can understand why Arsenal did it because he's just not, if everyone stays fit, he's not going to play much football at all. And that's not good for him after the couple of years he had. He needs to go out and rediscover himself again and find his best form again. And hopefully a move to Porto, a club he knows well, where he feels very, very settled and where he feels loved. You would hope that is going to help him discover his best form and he can have a real year of playing. And then Arsenal can work out what to do with him next summer. Something that I would suggest would probably end up looking to sell him and get some money back on him. But Yeah, ideally from an Arsenal point of view, I'd probably, for a squad point of view, in terms of Arsenal, I'd have probably kept him. But this does give Ethan the opportunity to get some minutes, so and that was really, really important as well. I think this summer. Here's one from Mason who says, "Hi Charles, quick hypothetical thought: if the Saudi teams had come in for 30 million bid for Zinchenko instead of Trossard, would you have taken it?" No, I wouldn't have taken it. Certainly not after the window had shut. Anyway, I thought it was ridiculous they even tried to do that after the window for Trossard. And even if it was Zinchenko, I'd have felt the same. I think Zinchenko's still got a really important part to play this season. He's probably not going to play that much at left back, but he will play sometimes at left back. But I still think what he's got to offer, what he can do coming off the bench as well, potentially midfield options, I think he's still got an important part to play. So no, they'd have offered 30 million for him after the window had shut, not a chance. If they'd have offered it a month before the end of the window, then probably yes, I would have said take it. But given the timing, no, it just wouldn't have made any sense to me. And Craig here before we go says, I really want to see a change of position for Martinelli and see him with some minutes up front as R9. He's had a few great performances there and needs a new lease of life. Not saying the North London derby, but there is a space in our forward line for him to get minutes. Yeah, I mean, it's a good option. Maybe that's what Martinelli needs. I mean, when he played on the right-hand side of the attack at the end of last season in the game against, who was it, Everton on the final day, I thought he looked really good over on the right-hand side as well. So maybe that is something that could sort of burst Martinelli back into life a little bit, is just shake things up a little bit, try him somewhere else, give him a bit of an extended run, whether that be on the right or as 9, as Craig here suggested. Maybe that is what he needs to spark him into life a little bit. So we'll see. Maybe for the Bolton game, that could be an option. If depending on what happens with Gabriel Jesus, Arsenal might not have loads of options when it comes to forwards for the League Cup, and that could be a good opportunity to give him a run out there. So I wouldn't be against it, Craig. Absolutely. Sometimes that's the sort of thing that might inspire a player into finding his best form again. And that's it from me, everyone. Thank you very much for your time, as always, today. I really do appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. Anything you want me to discuss in tomorrow's show, get down into the comments and I will pull some of them together and get them included. Until then, have a fantastic day. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.